16 years ago, we broadcast a story about Marva Collins, a Chicago teacher who started her own elementary school on the city's west side, West Side Prep. Marva claimed that with love, hard work, and no-nonsense teaching, inner-city children could compete with anyone academically. It was, to many people, quite an inspiring story. But not to Charles Murray, author of the controversial book about race and intelligence called The Bell Curve. On page 399, Murray writes that Marva's celebrated anecdotes about her students are too good to be true.
You have it all here on West Adams Street, all the familiar big city blight. The forever broken windows, the burnt-out flats, the disemboweled, abandoned cars. And then you have 3819 West Adams.
The Canterbury Tales are about whom? They're about whom? How many were there? 29.
There are no frills at West Side. The emphasis is on basic education, with an even stronger emphasis on literature and composition. There are no teacher breaks, no teacher desks. She is on her feet and over their shoulders all day, pushing them, cajoling them, and praising them.
Very, very good, Lisa. Very, very good. Cum laude.
And the results are apparent even to a casual bystander. Alert and challenged children being pushed way beyond the boundaries most school systems set. Who's your favorite author?
Jeffrey Chaucer and Shakespeare. Booker T. Washington and Hans Christian Andersen. My favorite book is The Greek Myth.
Greek myths.
I like Fyodor Dostoevsky and Dante Alighieri and Shakespeare.
And your favorite book?
Divine Comedy.
Okay.
I like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, and I like Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre.
So what happened to those 34 students we met at West Side Prep? Charles Murray says by implication that their apparent intelligence and promise was a fraud, that what we saw was just too good to be true. Well, was it? We traced 33 of the 34 and flew a group of them back to Chicago, back to West Side Prep's new location for a reunion of sorts.
Aren't you pretty?
To see if Charles Murray's allegations in the bell curve are true, to see whether or not these young men and women lived up to Marva's claims. Christopher Stubblefield,
We learn to read hard words.
the 8-year-old with the big voice, is now at university in Texas, and Erica McCoy Pace graduated last spring from Norfolk State University. When you saw her last, she was listing her favorite authors.
Emerson, Henry David Thoreau.
And what about the rest of our class of 79?
Michael Anderson, Taylor.
Terry Holmes, owner-operator of transportation company.
LaTanya Singleton, preschool teacher.
James Lowe, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force.
Sabrina Yates, 6th grade teacher.
Rysel Winters, law student.
Louis Johnson, operations manager.
Xavier Jones, teacher, criminal justice major.
Craig Brunner, clerk for the State's Attorney's Office.
I remember I had said in front of all my classmates here that I want to become an attorney. And it's funny, I'm actually in law school and I graduate next year, and Ms. Collins told me, oh yes, you can do it. You can do whatever you want to do. It's possible, and I'm living proof it is possible.
A number of you are teachers. Were you inspired by her to become teachers?
Definitely. She just gave so much to me personally in terms of always being reassuring. I mean, just the small things, like she would grab my face and say, pretty girl.
You're brilliant.
Yeah.
Honey, you're brilliant.
That's right.
Especially Craig. She would take his head and raise it up. Speak up, honey, you're brilliant.
That's right.
And, you know, after someone telling you that
Every day.
5 days a week,
Confidence.
for 3 or 4 years, you know, that's in you. That becomes a part of you. You are brilliant, honey.
And then we were doing Shakespeare. We put on the plays, and we had the three witches. Russell was a witch. It was fun.
But Charles Murray stated that claims of long-term academic achievement would typically fade as these children grow up.
Sagacious means what? Means you're very what?
Bright.
The words that we learned, it was nice because when we left and we heard someone talking, using a word, we knew what that word meant. And now in school, a lot of times we get the reading list on the course outline. I've read most of the books on there. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I read that, or the teacher will be talking about something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I read that book. All the students may feel like this shit.
I gather, where's Xavier?
Right here.
You use your notes, your West Side Prep notes on Hamlet to write a paper when?
I used it in high school, and I also used it in an English lit class when I was in college. And looking back at my handwriting, I was like, wow, you know, I was like, these are good notes.
Murray also raised questions about Marva's claims that 5- and 10-year-olds who'd been labeled unteachable were capable of reading Chaucer and Shakespeare. Well, Michael Anderson was said to have a learning disability when he entered Marva's school at age 9.
I had a client just a couple months ago, brought up Shakespeare out of nowhere. And we sat after having coffee for 3 hours. You know? Well, where did you learn Shakespeare? 4th grade. I knocked him off his feet. He couldn't believe it. 4th grade?
And there is Erica, who was considered a hopeless case at age 6.
Basically, I was told that I was borderline retarded, that I would never read. So I was basically written off.
I was supposed to be put back a couple of grades, but I wasn't when I came to Miss Collins.
When we saw Craig Brunner in 1979, he was reading his essay about Cleopatra.
Very, very long ago, there was a queen called...
What was the secret of her success, of motivation, or what?
That confidence, how you have a brain, you can do it on your own. You don't have to wait for anybody.
She killed herself with a poisonous snake.
Very, very good. I say to every child, for example, Morley, there's no one with your eyes. There's no one with your nose. There's no one with your hair. That makes you really special.
Look, there is nothing wrong with you. You just have not been taught. I don't want you to get this, I'm dumb, I'm stupid. There is nothing wrong with you. You are somebody because God didn't make any junk. All right?
My last name.
That's all right. If you can't forget your last name, don't worry about it. Just calm down. We're here to help you. Okay? The same problem children have problems all the way around, ironically. It's no lunch, no money, no skills, no self-image either. It's really because they never really discovered the unique them. They never really discovered that what they're seeking for is already within them. Regardless of how far behind a child is, it's my responsibility, it's their responsibility, it's our responsibility as educators to make sure that the child does not stay there. In other words, to make the poor student good and the good student superior with no excuses in between.
These days, her message and methods are repeated by teachers she's trained for her 3 elementary schools in Chicago. She is mostly on the road, giving seminars for teachers all over the country. Above all, she tells them every child is teachable. Every child can learn.
Ask the slowest children in your class how many children know the rap songs, and they all raise their hands, and I'll say them for me. And I says, good. If you can do that, you can learn the Canterbury Tales in Old English, too. I don't know half of what those rap songs are saying, but they know every line. What makes us think, then, that they become such learning disabilities when they get to school?
The word is glint. Listen to the key vowel in the middle. It, glint.
One of the major teaching tools at Westside Prep is the teaching of phonics. Phonics teaches not just the letters of the alphabet, but all the individual sounds of the English language.
There are about 93 basic sounds in the English language, more or less. Phonics, you simply learn every sound, syllables in words that we speak in the English language or any other language, and you sound the sounds out.
They're vowel signals.
That's the advantage of knowing phonics, because once you know a sound, you recognize it in any word, anywhere, no matter how small the word is, no matter how large it is.
I cut my finger, but my puppy is what? Roundabout. In the quantity and everyone. So that on the cold stone, days and nights have 31. Shelter men who sleep in dark, born of earth and turned apart.
Marva provides Wells Prep for free for residents of the Ida B. Wells Housing Project, home of Chicago's most lethal gang. Students are taken on a first-come, first-served basis. The methods are the same. No sports, no art, no recess, no nonsense, no self-pity. Plenty of Shakespeare.
I need an antagonist.
Tyball.
Tyball. Tyball did what?
Mercutio.
Mercutio. Romeo's what?
Would you have got lost in the streets of the West Side?
Most definitely. Very easy. Very easy.
A lot of my friends who didn't go to Marva Collins around high school is where they got caught up in things, where school just wasn't their focus in life, and they just went their ways, be it gangs or whatever else they did outside of basketball.
What I got out of West Side the year that I was there, it helped me to stay out of trouble. It helped me to at least get some sort of direction as to where I should be going is versus where I shouldn't be going.
As evidence, the testimony of Marva's graduates may not be hard enough for Mr. Murray. So we went a step further and asked Dr. Guy Stewart, a professional statistician here in Chicago, to compare the 33 former students with their peers. He told us, statistically, 1 should have been murdered, at least 2 in prison, and 5 on welfare. Marva's graduates are all alive, none are in prison, and none are on welfare. Of those not at the reunion, a number, like Brian Gurley, are still in college. Most of the rest are working. Michael Singleton is a Chicago police officer. 2 others are corrections officers. Darius Daniels is the office manager of an insurance agency. 2 others are salesmen. Michael Ridley is a buyer in the restaurant business. Felisa Felder graduated from Loyola and works for a large brokerage house in Chicago. This January, she enters Loyola Law School. Where do you expect to be 10 years from now?
10 years from now. Judge.
A law professor, actually. I said that I wanted my master's by 25, and I'm going to have my master's by 25, and then I'm going to be sitting in law school.
I would plan to be working with the Nation of Islam as far as dealing with agriculture and agribusiness.
You're studying agriculture now?
Yes.
I am going to have my own line of clothes. Not, I hope to. I am going to have my own line of clothes.
Married with my family, working hard in my church, and I'm opening my school. It's going to be very similar to this one.
And Erica Pace, she wants to open a long-term homeless shelter. Erica, once described as retarded, graduated from college last May, summa cum laude.